approve minutes for April 3rd. Are there any corrections or changes? One small change was page 1, 6.1, rules of procedure, where the board stopped the month before. Just change spelling there. Any other amendments or corrections? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Howe, a second by Mr. Long. Do we have a roll call, please?
Atkins?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Jones? Long?
Yes.
Motion to approve carried. Need to approve findings of fact. 01 BZA B-23 Jackson Heights.
The name of the event center is not the same as it's on this paper.
Oh, we're still on the findings of Jackson Heights. Are there any additions or corrections to the findings for Jackson Wright? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
I can make that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Atkins to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Howe. We have a roll call vote, please.
Atkins,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Motion approved. Next, finding of fact, Town of Fairmount, 02 SP-23.
I'll make the motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the findings by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Long, second by Mrs. Jones. We have a roll call, please.
Atkins,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Motion approved. Okay, public hearing for tonight has been delayed due to a mix-up in the advertisement. So we will not have that public hearing today, but there was some questions on that hearing that we want to discuss and get this figured out. To begin with, we had Mr. Sutton visit us at the last meeting and mentioned that there was an event center going in across the street from him and that it was in the RS Residential Suburban District. Now, he also made the point that there was a permit on the door. It was issued on August 16th as the Kingdom Event Center. And that there was a sign out front advertising the Covenant Event Center. In a visit to the site, I noticed that to be correct. And he was stating that why would we issue a building permit without first getting a special exception? That is a reasonable question. Do we know how that happened?
So in the beginning, when he started this project, we first went to the state to find out whether or not he needed a commercial design release for the remodel of the project. The state stated that he did not need a commercial design release. So we issued the remodel permit to get started on the building, noting that he would need to get a special exception. We walked the building and talked to him about fire suppression and different things that we needed to see. From that point, they got the cart way in front of the horse. We had to
Who
go back
did?
there.
Who did?
The owners did. We knew nothing of the sign. We knew nothing of the 8-foot fence that went up. So they're aware of it. And as far as what they have to do now, what they're coming in for, part of his reasoning was, if you've read through any of the packet, he had a lawyer look at everything, and that lawyer, through his research, actually used the Marion land use table to where it would be allowed by right in residential suburban. So there's a misunderstanding on the special exception because he thought the event center was allowed by right. We figured that out when he sent me the lawyer paperwork. Right after the last meeting, I got a hold of him the next day, got out there and looked to see what he had done. Got a hold of him, and then he sent me all the paperwork he had. And I don't know if you guys got the packet that still has it in there. You can see he has, as far as Marion is concerned, it would be, it's the page with the red on it. It would be allowed by right. So he before he filed for a special exception, they thought that they were allowed to do it by right, which is why they continued.
Now, I have a question. Did he start work before August 16th? When you walked through?
I think we did an initial inspection to look at it and what it would need, and then we left it for him to get with the state to give us something that says it did not need the special, or the CDR.
So he had not started?
I do not believe so.
Okay, so on August 16th,
No, because when we originally went out there, they were doing some demo. So generally, they're allowed to demo prior to permit.
okay. Who's the lawyer?
He did not tell me.
I think we would need to know that with a statement from him concerning his mix-up.
Okay.
Or he could come in person if he would prefer that.
Ryan, with the remodel permit, are you guys required to go out and do an inspection at any point?
Yeah. And that's what we did our initial inspection, which is usually to get a scope of the work. For what they were doing, it would have been a call before you cover. And they're
What's a call?
beyond.
Help me with a call before you cover.
So if we're opening any walls, doing any HVAC, doing any plumbing, doing any electric inside the walls, we would ask that they call us before they put any drywall
Okay.
up.
I'm with you, I understand that.
So,
Yes.
you know, we kind of walk through and say, okay, you know, what are you doing? Let's get a scope of the work, and here's when we need to be called.
Did he call you at any point for an inspection?
No, we're waiting on a call for inspection.
Are the walls open?
No,
It looks,
I didn't get inside the building, but I believe inside the building is probably pretty close to being completed.
Do you have any documentation that he has from the state saying that he didn't need a commercial?
Yeah, we've got all that with the permit stuff. But that's usually where we start. With what happens with that is it was a school, so it's gonna have some of the strictest standards. Being moved into a recreational center, it actually had less standards. So it's actually got more smoke detectors, more egress points, more than he actually is required to have.
when he came in for a remodel permit, was he advised at that time that this is RS and that an event center is not allowed except by special exception?
I said, he would have came in and we would have scheduled an initial inspection to go out and see what it was, because again, we started with whether or not the state needed to be involved.
Were the neighbors notified because of the gentleman that was here last, when we had our meeting? He was unaware of the fact that there was gonna be an event center?
And they were notified for the public hearing.
But when he came in, him and his wife, he said that they had no knowledge of that, what was gonna be an event center. They thought it was gonna be.
Well, like I said, if you go out there and look at it right now,
I've been out there.
not only is the remodel done, but now there's an 8-foot fence, there's pews up, there's a chapel up,
Yep,
there's a sign up. We're unaware of any of that.
I was out there.
And Mr. Young is aware that he's going to need to explain that to you guys.
Was he told when he came in for the remodel permit that a event center was not allowed except by special exception, that he would have to get a special exception, that he was at risk?
I'm sure he was, but again, I'm trying to remember back to August. I mean, we took extra care to get out there and look at it and talk to him about it. I can't believe that I wouldn't have said this is gonna require a special exception.
But you can't remember that.
I can't remember exactly, but I mean, we went from one end to the other end of that building. It would amaze me that I didn't mention it.
Is the building complete? Is he completely done with the work that he needs?
I haven't been back inside of it yet.
He stated in
I
here he
would
would
say-
not have bid on that property if he had known. Now, that's the lawyer's fumble, but it appears we have a fumble that he was here in August notifying us and getting a building permit, and we can't substantiate whether or not he was told he needed a special exception.
I'd have to get the permit and see what my notes were. I mean, generally, we have notes from the initial walkthrough. Can you run out and grab that permit?
When does he plan to open the event center?
I don't know. That's for him to talk to you guys about.
Okay.
I mean, he's aware, he's aware, I think, before yours.
Okay.
Did he request the permit with the title Kingdom Event Center?
She'll bring the permit
Okay.
down, so.
The permit has to be issued the way it is on the tax statements.
Oh,
And it says, when we pull it up, it says Kingdom Event Center.
Okay.
I assume that change was made when he bought the property.
Probably.
Sure.
We have to go through the recorder, right?
Because it was a school for troubled youth, and then sat empty for about 5 years when he bought it. He's actually the neighbor of it. His partner is another neighbor of it, and his partner's brother is another neighbor of the project. They're all the ones working on it.
When is he gonna come in so we can address these questions?
His public hearings were supposed to be tonight. And I don't know, are we we're not breaking any kind of laws or anything, discussing it without them here?
Well, I mean, there's still a right for the public, this is a public meeting, so, I mean, it's, you're fine.
Okay. Just wanna check before I get that phone.
I mean, it's, the public hearing is not tonight, it's just getting your input from,
Yeah, we're trying to clear up some facts before we get into this.
Does he get to continue to work on this building or whatever until?
I spoke with him and he was in the next day to file for the public hearing.
Board have any other discussion or questions on this?
Assuming we'll deal with it at the next meeting?
Yeah. So we're waiting on her to get back with the permit and any notes accompanying it.
Oh, okay.
But, in the meantime, we have another one that is tabled that we need to discuss a little bit as well. It is the web petition. Now, I looked at this a little bit more, and according to our rules, the chairman has to make sure that we follow the rules. It's his responsibility. But if the board feels that the chairman is incorrect, they can make a motion and have a vote to overrule. But anyway, when I look at the use table, and if you remember, one of the points that we were discussing was, is retail sales allowed in R3? Now, there are 2 pages of stores on the land use table listed here, and they go from, A through the alphabet pretty much, and none of them allow R3, including specialty food is not allowed in R3. So when I was saying retail sales, as the petition stated, we cannot give an exception for that. And also, if you check the record of the judge's order, he said that she could seek a special exception for massage therapy. He did not mention yoga classes. He did not mention any retail sales. Only massage therapy. Now, if we were to say, okay, you can do retail sales, that opens it up to what? She was requesting it for food products that she wanted to sell, that she makes, or,
Someone else does.
yeah, or someone else does. But if we were to grant everything that she's requesting, when this is cleared up as to does she have full ownership of the property and comes back, I'm thinking she only comes back for what the judge said she could seek a special exception for at that point. And I'm saying that because retail sales are not allowed. And retail sales are not definitely part of massage therapy. So you could give that to the extreme and say, well, okay, if she's also allowed yoga and she's then will we be selling yoga clothes, yoga mats, yoga, whatever else could be thought of that goes with it? Would that also be allowed? And I would have to say no to that. I would have to say we could consider a massage therapy, that makes sense. At some point, maybe we could consider the yoga class also. But opening a store to sell retail, I would have to say we couldn't consider that based on what you see on the zone table. It's 2 pages of stores. Now there is an anomaly to this zone table, and then over in the C's, instead of with the stores, there's a china and glassware and metalware. But outside of that, that's the only one, and we don't think she's requesting any sales like that. So at that point, unless the board wants to make a motion and vote on that, I'm saying that's the way we'll go forward on this one. And would you like to discuss that?
Now, are we making an exception for the business or for the location?
It'd be for the owner of this business, and it stays with the owner. If she were to move, it would not stay in that location.
Okay, thank you.
But we're not also saying that she is the owner and the sole owner of that property.
Yeah, when she's the sole owner of that property, I
Yes.
think we can move forward.
Yeah.
But it is, right now, a little bit muddied up.
Yeah.
There's 2 owners.
Yeah.
And only one seems to be in favor of this.
Would it be unrealistic that she thinks the term seek special exception from the board, maybe she thought we would approve because the judge said seek an exception. That doesn't mean we're gonna approve, but, you know, I'm thinking that he was telling us that they ought to give it to, you know, that the board.
I don't think you might make a reasonable interpretation of that. I mean,
But
it's
I think-
obviously
I
your
think she-
discretion
I think
as
she-
far as
I
what you
think she-
grant her.
I think she can, not the judge, but she was under that impression that, you know, to say seek and doesn't mean that we are gonna just automatically say that we're gonna approve it because he said seek it. You know, so, no.
We felt like it's normal process.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what her subjective
Yeah,
belief
that's-
is.
yeah.
I mean,
We just wanted to make sure that she's not thinking that we are not giving it to her because, you know, for some reason or another.
Okay, now I'm confused because we said that the exception would be for the business.
Yes.
And if she owns the business, then the exception really wouldn't be tied to the property.
Well, it is tied to the property while she lives there.
Okay,
That is a good point you make. It's interesting, but yeah, it does go with the owner. And it does not remain necessarily if someone else buys the house. They don't automatically have that business right.
okay.
They'd have to apply for it.
So if she was to move based on the determination of the divorce, then the exception would terminate at that point.
Yeah, she'd have to go get it wherever she went, or
May not
move
need
into a
to,
retail store.
it may not need an exception at that time, if she goes someplace else,
Right.
unless she went into residential.
Yeah,
Okay.
if she ends up with the house, then she can move forward with this.
But as it says right now, she could do the yoga or the massage therapy, but not selling product,
She could,
no,
She-
by the way it's stated.
Yeah, by the way the judge stated it, he only mentioned massage therapy. He did not mention yoga classes. That may add quite a bit of traffic to the neighborhood. For some reason, he only said one thing. I don't know if she asked him for 3, but his order only gave 1. And so when the application came in, it said 3, so that's an inconsistency that we need to clear up.
And I would again note from the office, 90% of what's allowed in R3 has retail sales.
How do you determine that?
We
based on
went
no
down the
stores
whole-
are allowed?
We went down the whole list of R3 last time, I can do it again.
No, I don't need you to do that. You go down the list of stores, there are none, except for the China, which is an anomaly in itself. It's allowed by special exception.
So
The others are not allowed at all.
my point is that if we follow that line of thinking on stores, then we have got probably 500 places we need to go talk to.
Have they already got a special exception? Then
And
they're allowed.
By special exception or by right,
They're already allowed.
R3.
If it's by right,
So why
it
is
would
this?
have an X on the zone table, right?
Right.
Stores don't. Stores are retail sales. If you're granting a barber shop, you might assume that somebody might buy some shampoo while they're in there, but it's not the main objective of the business. The objective is you get a haircut. A lot of times you get a haircut without buying anything else. A beauty salon might be the same thing. Some things there might be implied, but they're not selling products as their primary business. Or a secondary business.
And I believe she said her stuff was like bath bombs and stuff that would go along with the yoga and the.
Well, she
That could.
even talked about honey.
Well, she mentioned honey,
Honey,
and that's a product to eat.
specialty food type,
Yeah.
that store's not allowed.
Okay.
Like I said, that's where, and again, I'm not trying to fight, I'm just, I need to know where we're at on it, so when this stuff comes in, I mean, if I can look at everything else in R3, I would quickly assume that retail sales are allowed, because it's allowed in almost everything in R3.
It's not allowed in any store. There's a
So
whole list
we-
of stores in R3 where it's definitely not allowed. And when you come in and ask for retail sales,
Well, this is gonna be a yoga studio, not a store.
this is she advertises on the front of the building that she sells these products. Sounds like a retail establishment request.
So we're assuming retail sales are primary, the
No,
yoga
I
and
didn't say
the,
we're primary, it looks like it was an
so
equal
this is a yoga
third,
studio,
didn't it?
not a store.
It was an equal third, wasn't it? There's 3 things applied for.
So if we were going to give consideration for her to do the massage therapy and possibly the yoga without the retail sales, where would we go now?
I need my permit.
Or are we fixed on
I need all my
the
notes.
settlement of the,
I think we're fixed on who has the property.
That'll
that will clear some things up.
determine everything, the property owner.
That'll kind of clear up, is she gonna be staying there?
Yeah.
For one thing. If she doesn't have the property, she's gonna be going someplace else. And she could possibly get an exception there, if it's
There we
needed.
go. So
She may not be going to R3.
we're
You
getting.
jump into the next zone and things change.
So again, that's, as an office, I'm asking,
Well,
if we're looking at a yoga, if we're not looking at a store, we're looking at a yoga studio primarily,
we're looking at
With massage
retail
therapy.
sales listed on the petition.
with minor retail sales, so not a
It
store.
didn't say minor, did it?
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's not misrepresent it then. And I'm not gonna argue with it. I've made my decision, I've researched this. Like I said, this is board discussion, and if the board wants to vote to move forward with that, I'm okay. I am totally okay with it. If the board wants to vote for what? Making a motion for allowing retail sales on this petition.
okay, I'm not in support of that. it bothers me a little bit that this woman can't go ahead and, you know, work her business based on, unfortunately, circumstances that are out of her control.
Yeah.
That bothers me.
Yes.
I don't know whether with a temporary exception can be granted or, you know, how we can, but
One way around it would be for her to do whatever sales she's going to do on a on-the-spot sale, that they can pick the things up that she recommends someplace else.
Or sell them through a consignment shop.
Yeah, and something like that would be the way around it for her. But, I mean, she's basically trying to make a living in an area that is, that accepts her, I think. I don't know that there's any objections to any of the neighbors or anything there. And she's being placed in a very bad situation. I know too much, I can't vote, I have to abstain. She is a client of mine, and, you know, I just have to stay out of it as much as I can. So, if the vote would come up, I would abstain.
Having it later would probably be a good thing when we have more members as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
Yes, we don't have very many here.
Right, yeah, it needs to come up at that time,
Yeah.
but,
But it comes down to property needs to be resolved,
Right,
then
number
we
one,
move on forward with that.
Yes.
that's number
Yeah.
one.
I don't,
If it doesn't work out, then she moves somewhere else, then.
gotta remember, she owns half the property.
True.
Yeah.
So if she owns half the property, she's
True.
got half the sale, or half the sale. So,
Yeah, we'd rather it was all the same.
yeah, it would be easier that way, but
Yes.
what do you think?
If you're talking about moving, I mean, you guys have already tabled it, I mean, I think
Yeah.
they've made that decision, and that's where you are. I mean, obviously, you can reverse your decision at any time, but it's still pending there.
Yeah.
Hasn't been approved or denied.
Right.
Right.
do we have grounds to have the table decision that we have now?
Well, I mean, yeah, because you've done it, so, I mean, it's still pending there. I mean, you're the final authority, I mean,
Okay.
you can be appealed, you know, to another source, but, I mean, we're still waiting for your
Just want to make
decision.
sure we're okay.
I would think it would be something that if we want to continue it, that we bring it up at the next meeting
Yeah.
Okay.
and
And we get further.
get all the parties involved.
Yeah.
Make a firm decision.
Okay.
Because we are in the business of trying to help, not hurt.
Yeah,
Right.
Now, this information has gone back to the judge, we believe,
Yeah,
so
that's what I forwarded along.
he hasn't given any
We haven't been
further
subpoenaed yet.
guidance saying.
Yeah.
Does he have knowledge of this board's decision, the judge?
No, I haven't been, I forwarded you what I got.
Okay.
so
The
my,
prosecutor,
my question is, how did they come to the prosecutor on you and Brenda then?
they wanted us there due to the decision to initially table it over the warrant for arrest.
What does that have to do with the Board of Zoning Appeals?
So now we've got the prosecutor calling us, the
Okay.
deputy prosecutor calling us saying the same thing.
You know,
I
it's
think
like,
maybe we
you know,
shouldn't
you're
go
putting-
into that.
You're dragging us into
Yeah.
something deeper and deeper, it's like a big hole. That has nothing to do with the Board of Zoning Appeals whatsoever.
Yeah, I think we best
Yeah.
Thank you, David, let me get-
table it, move on. Okay, next,
We did back to the event center.
okay, got that.
So I did note 4.3 that they had yet to get a special exception. What happened on August 16th, Caveman Construction came in to do a remodel for storage on 420 square foot of the building. And noted that Aaron and I walked it. Initial walkthrough was August 17th, 2022. Then Aaron went back, he got called back for an inspection November 22nd, 2022. For fire caulking, electric, framing, plumbing, and he gave them the okay to drywall. So at this time, it still was not on our permit as an event center.
Okay.
And what they had
Record
initially,
that he was advised he must get a special exception before commencing work.
well, once we saw what he was doing, we told him, and that's where the other permit came from, or the land use stuff came from Marion.
Well,
So he initially told us in August, he was doing bathroom tile and backsplashes, 5 vanities, 1 urinal, 8 toilets, 4 sets of barn doors. He was going to install 13 doors, and all other doors, windows, and floor trim. That was our initial, that's why it didn't get stopped right off the bat.
but that's what he's talking about. He's spending this money. And he was under the impression that he did not need a special exception.
He had a third-party contractor in there doing it before he took over with him and his partners. So once we found out it was an event center is when we put it to a halt, which was part of what we found out. So that's our notes is Aaron was back November 22nd, 2022 for the rough end.
But we still don't know that he was advised that he had to get a special exception before beginning work in August 16th.
No, he wouldn't have been. He was coming in for 420 square foot of work, for storage on a building. So Caveman Construction, when they initially come in, there was no evidence of an event center originally.
What were they building?
It just says 420 square foot of work for storage.
But no matter what he's building, we're giving him a permit.
Right.
And we're not asking what this building's going to be.
He said it was for storage. So again, we could go out and get a scope of the work. Caveman Construction at that time could have told Aaron, yeah, we're just doing some storage on this end of the building, no big deal.
And then in November, when he tells him it's okay to close up the walls, the walls are all open prior to that.
Well, that would be what a rough end would be.
Yeah,
If
so-
he okayed fire caulk, you had to be able to see the top sill.
Yeah, how many square feet in this building?
Building as a whole no, I need the other sheet. No. 10,021 square feet. According to the original permit, they were just working on 420 square foot of it.
And before he bought the land, he had an attorney advise him on an event center,
That it was allowed by right.
that it was allowed by right.
Right.
So he knew. But he didn't convey that to you
No,
in that application then?
no. We would have caught it. I mean, as far as I know, the CDR wasn't needed. I don't have that with it here.
I don't, it's not with that, it's on file. I don't know where that was.
Okay, I think we've probably gone as far as we need to go. Okay. And be sure and convey to him information that we would like to see, like his attorney
Right.
and a statement from his attorney, either in person or in writing.
Yeah.
And we want you to have that before the hearing, so that we'll know whether or not we should move forward.
Okay.
Okay,
13 minutes.
checking our time here.
12 minutes.
All right, let's move on to our rules that we were working on. And we were on page 9. We left off with 6.3.2 with that section. Are we all there? Okay. There's a couple words to remove in 6.3.4. It just says "and his" a couple of times on the third line. We just remove one of the "and his." Then moving on down, oh, yes, all in favor say aye of that change.
Aye.
Okay, approved. 6.4. However, written appearances by those augmenting the presentation as well as by those either supporting or remonstrating against it will only be accepted 2 days prior to the public hearing. Failure of the petitioner or their representative to appear will result in the petition being remove the next wording of tabled and rescheduled for the next meeting. Public announcement of this change at the originally scheduled meeting will be deemed sufficient notice to all parties. Remove that and add considered for placing on the agenda in 6 months. And if you see section 685, which is back a little ways, 685 says, an application withdrawn by the applicant shall not be placed in the agenda for consideration within a 6-month period following the date of withdrawal from the agenda of the board. So that makes those two more consistent. Back here it's saying if they withdraw, it's held up for 6 months before it can be brought again. Here, if they stand us up and don't show, then they can't come back for 6 months. Same rule, basically. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Moving on down. 656, report, resolutions, communications, general discussion, and open public comment will round out the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay, can we have a roll call vote for page 9 changes?
Atkins? Powell?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Motion approved. Moving on to page 10. 6.6.2, this simplifies it a little bit. Staff presentation, report, and recommendation. Staff shall give a staff recommendation. Remove the other wording of staff shall present initial findings publicly to the board. Staff shall present evidence in support or in opposition to the granting of a variance, special exception, or determination of any other matter as necessary. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that is it for page 10. Do we have a roll call vote for change on page 10?
Atkins,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Carried. Changes for page 10 are approved. How are we doing on our time? We got 5 minutes? Okay. Page 11. Okay. Each question of a statutory test for adopted findings of fact shall be voted on separately. A majority reason to approve or deny shall be determined from each vote tallied and each corresponding element vote entered into the official record as adopted findings of fact. The final determination shall be announced by the secretary and the findings of fact are adopted. We don't do that. That has not been our general practice. So either we should go forward and do that, or we should remove it. But we shouldn't have it in here if that's not how we actually do our meetings and make our approval on the findings of fact. We make one motion and approve the findings as a whole. Any board discussion on that?
Any state statute that would cause that to be looked at otherwise?
I don't think so. I think it's okay.
Let's get rid of what we don't need.
Yeah. Because we really should go by the rules to a T. All in favor, say aye. We have a roll call vote for changes on page 11.
Atkins,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Page 11 approved, and we will take up there next month. What's the meeting date of June? Is that the 5th?
I believe so.
Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
No, motion to adjourn,
I'll second.
and a second motion to adjourn by Ms. Long.
Ms. Jones.
Ms. Jones. Second by Mr. Long. Got you both, didn't I? Meeting adjourned, thank you.